This week's Race of the Week was the Junior Rotax Super Final from the UKC at Warden Law. A great race, fighting throughout, and a worthy Race of the Week.
Somehow spinning on what should be a straight line, but just trying to warm up the tyres there. Was a bit too aggressive, found their way sideways and probably caught the driver there off guard. That was Daniel Minto, will be starting this race from last. However, we get this race underway. Jacob Ashcroft will lead us in towards turn number 1. Of course, Kai Clark has to settle for second place. 14 minutes plus the lap to go. And the Junior Rotax Super Final gets going. And a couple of spinners already. That's the 251 towards the back end of the field. That's Sebastian Clark that's had an off. So already drama before and during the opening lap of this race. Inside line for the 16 of Matteo Palazzo as he picks his way past and up now into third place. A couple of moves being made from these drivers as they funnel their way through the opening lap. It's always exciting because you've got 34 cars all trying to squabble for the same bit of track space. The 24 there, Ryan Gandor, trying to again make amends for not the best of starts in the world, and again all of them just trying to pick their way through, find their bit of tarmac and try not to get involved in too much carnage and chaos in the opening lap because it's very easy to happen. A couple of carts running wide as we tick off the first lap. It's Jacob Ashcroft from Kai Clark and Matteo Palazzo now the top 3. Palazzo up 2 places on the opening lap. Started in 5th, used the inside line to barrel his way up a couple of places, and now we've got a breakaway between the top 3. So Ashcroft going to be difficult to beat, but if they can continue to bridge that gap, it's going to be isolating him, and Kai Clark will be loving an opportunity to go for a victory. Just in behind that, you've got the likes of Wolfert and Ryan Gandor, who didn't get the best of starts, but will be looking to make up for that. Still inside the top 5, still firmly in the contention for this, and Jacob Ashcroft now have to go defensive. Here comes Kai Clark up the inside, opens the door nearly for Matteo Palazzo. Jacob Ashcroft unsighted by the move there from Kai Clark, who picked his way through and now is into the lead of the race. Ashcroft, of course, with a driver of his caliber, comes into every round with a target on his back. Everyone wants to beat him because the 246 is the one that sets the standard, and now Kai Clark goes through. Still got 12 minutes of this race left to go though, so effectively we've still got a super heat left of this final. Drivers now settling their way into their rhythm. Kai Clark, I think, has got the measure, has got the pace to start pulling away, especially if Palazzo puts some pressure on his championship rival. Not the best of lines through that second hairpin there for Jacob Ashcroft, and that's allowed Kai Clark to get a kart length or so extra in his favour. Some moves being made a bit further back. That's the 24 of Ryan Gandor, I think, getting overtaken. I think Rory Armstrong, Daniel Kilpatrick, those two around you is not really what you want by any stretch of the imagination. He's now tailed by Luca Holmes-Ballock, so I think dropped to the back end of the top 10 is the 24 of Ryan Gandor. At the final corner once again, we'll see what the situation is as they break the beam, but Rory Armstrong and Daniel Kilpatrick really making the most of this race thus far. They are some of the big movers this weekend. There's a couple of moves there. You can see Gandor under pressure still, maybe even at risk of falling outside of the top 10 as he's got a swarm of cars all chasing after him. The 31 dropping out there, that was Finley Buck, who of course took victory at Dunkswell in the final. Not quite swinging his way this weekend in terms of having to carve his way inside the top 10. Look for Leon Hasty as well on the O plate, already up into 16th place, up 10 in the opening couple of laps, really riding the wave of when everyone's bunched up and just slowly but surely picking his way through. The 116, Thomas Jackson versus Finley Smith, the 34, sweeping his way around the outside. There you can see the 24, Ryan Gandor, trying his best just to stay on touch with those inside the top 10. Still 10.5 minutes left to go. At the front, Kai Clark stretching that advantage, now 6/10 clear of Jacob Ashcroft, which is a huge advantage to have over a driver of that caliber. However, still plenty of this race left to go. Do not count Ashcroft out until the end. That hairpin has definitely been the site of a lot of drama, and a lot of people are using it as a good opportunity to go for some moves. You've got to be so careful though, because the next corner is a long right-hander, and that can again open the door for a double switchback. The O-plate, Leon Hasty picks off another kart, up another place. Where is he now? He's worked his way into 16th, so now into what would be 15th if he's worked his way past Thomas Jackson. There's the 116, closely followed by the 232. That's Riley Bishop, John Buck, and the 13 just in behind that as well. Blair Smith is the one with the fast lap, actually, because of just how chaotic this race has been thus far. Kart going over the grass there, taking an interesting interpretation of track limits there. I don't know if it was a mistake or whether or not the driver was forced out there. Kicking up some dust and definitely some dirt on that tyre. The 45 Blair Smith with the fast lap has got Rory Armstrong for company, and of course the Downhill Racing kart was the one that was making some huge sends earlier on in the day. Really brave stuff. Same to Daniel Kilpatrick, the 20, so look out for those two teammates as they try and work their way together to go forwards. They're inside the top 10 already. Up a couple of places are the pair of them, and I'm sure they're going to look to continue that theme. Kyle Clark now leads 3/4 of a second clear from Jacob Ashcroft, who now might have to turn his attention looking backwards to Matteo Palazzo, his championship rival, the cut number 16. Look to the inside there, that's the 82. Further down the field, that's Lewis Radcliffe. So that's the fight for 15th. Any one of them really, at this stage in the race, still has an opportunity maybe to work their way inside the top 10. Leon Hasty works his way back to the inside of the 34 of Finley Smith and picks off another victim. Not been the best races. The 282, unfortunately, having a couple of issues. I think that was one of the karts that spun on the formation lap. Could well be an answer as to why that happened. Unfortunately, yeah, just going slowly, and an issue for them. That's going to be not the way you want to end your day by any stretch of the imagination, considering the journey that we've taken to get all the way here. 7.5 minutes left of this race, plus, of course, the lap. The GP plate of Albi Lapper trying to keep Joshua Smith at bay. So look for the peppermint liveried OTK of Albi Lapper, of course, has come into this. Definitely, you know, with some confidence. The pace was there momentarily in the superheat, but just seems that he's not really settled into a nice rhythm in the super final, but still holding on for what is a very respectable P5. Taking over half distance in this race then. Very much walking out of the woods, and the gap at the front, Kai Clark has grown it to 1.1 seconds. Begs the question, what can Ashcroft do? What can Palazzo do if they still want to win this race? Or are they just going to have to settle for their own respective battle in the fight for second? Joshua Smith in the sort of pink / red-ish white livery car of the 15, chasing after the GP plate of Albi Lapper. So that's the battle for 5th. They are closing in actually on Charlie Wolfert, so maybe that's the priority here. Get a couple of extra championship points. Also look out for Rory Armstrong, Daniel Kilpatrick, Blair Smith and Ryan Gandor, who's just able to stay inside the top 10, nearly 3 wide as the 13 of John Buchan tries to get involved with this battle with Thomas Jackson. And the 228 of Luca Holmes-Ballock just in front of him as well. Into the final couple of corners, and it does get very, very busy indeed. John Buchan now looking to go to the inside. They're ducking and diving in towards turn number 1, trying to find the space to the outside. Really the move that you can make. It's just such a long right hand. They're taking so much speed through it that around the outside is almost asking to be sort of ran off the road a little bit, just with the battling the understeer. So thinking better on that occasion. The gap at the front has come down marginally. It was like 1.2 seconds. It's now 1.08 last time they broke the beam. So I think it did go in favour of Jacob Ashcroft that last lap. Inside line opens up though for Rory Armstrong on the inside of Joshua Smith, and he picks his way through. That's now going to be 6th place for the 266. His pace and his racecraft has looked so incredibly strong this weekend. Leon Hasty, he's up into 11th place, by the way, so up 15 places from 26th on the grid. Is a top 10 possible from that far down? We'll have to wait and see what Leon Hasty can deliver in the final 5 minutes of this race. And a huge send once again. Rory Armstrong is so brave on the brakes. That was on Albi Lapper, caught the GP plate napping, who's now dropped down a couple of places behind at the very least Joshua Smith, who was trying so hard to get through. All he had to do was allow Rory Armstrong to have a go. The 45 of Blair Smith there tries to be late on the brakes to keep Daniel Kilpatrick at bay, and that's going to allow him to close the gap. But what a move that was from Rory Armstrong. He loves that move to the inside of that first hairpin. Late on the brakes. It was touch and go. I mean, if Albi Lapper wanted to continue turning in, they would have had a crash, but wise of the GP plate just to think better and turn out of it. But an absolute launch there from Rory Armstrong. Very nicely done indeed. Getting towards the tail end of this race then, just 4 minutes left to go. Plus, of course, the lap, so probably about 5 or 6 laps left to go in this race. Ashcroft now with a fast lap. That last time by was a PB and the fast lap. However, once he'd done that, Kai Clark responded with his own PB, only 1/100th of a second slower. Albi Lapper trying to find a way back through on Joshua Smith, and at the very least trying to keep Ryan Gandor behind him. Rory Armstrong has left Kilpatrick for dust, really. They were carving their way through together. Rory Armstrong now in 5th. Kilpatrick still down in 10th place. His progress has stalled ever so slightly as it's getting very busy into the final couple of corners, with just a handful of laps left to go for the Junior Rotax Super Final. Mechanical flag coming in for the radiator of kart number 19, Lucas Howe. I think it was a similar issue to what we saw Jemmy Zyra have in the 177. So, yeah, mechanical flag means the stewards have noted it and almost forced to come in and effectively retire. You can fix the issue and go back out. But at that point, it's over and there's contact. The 15 of Joshua Smith has made contact. I think that was with Albi Lapper. And that's going to drop him way down the order. The 82 has gone round as well. Lewis Radcliffe has had an issue, and it's a disaster for both of them. All of that hard work and a chance for a very decent position for the pair of them now over. That promotes Leon Hasty, though, inside the top 10. Albi Lapper drops outside. He goes to P11 after the contact. He still got better off. Still was able to continue on, but you have to feel for the 15, who again just had to sit there and wait effectively for the entire train of karts to come through because you can't rejoin. So unfortunate for Joshua Smith there, who goes from fighting for P5 down to P29, and still with 2 minutes left on the clock. Black flag has come in for the 282 of Daniel Minto. So that was the driver that spun on the formation lap, worked up a couple of places, I think had an issue going slowly. I think maybe that's what caused the mechanical flag for the radiator. Maybe didn't come in and has thus been black flagged to tell them you have to be coming in because it needs to be sorted. Unfortunately, I think maybe still out there running. 1 minute and 40 plus the lap still left to go. Just getting word that Leon Hasty running anew the Haase chassis this weekend. So new equipment, maybe explaining why he's not been on the pace that we're really used to seeing. And I say on the pace that we're used to seeing. He's still running inside the top 10. He's still made up, 17 places from where he started. But considering he used to be fighting for wins, maybe just adjusting to that chassis. And to be fair, he's done a fantastic job to race as well as he has been. It's been mightily impressive for the Scottish driver, who we saw perform very well and take that home victory, of course, at Larkhall after the penalty for Jared Fox-Whiteley. The 282 of Minto is into the pits and unfortunately out of this race. Same too, is that the O-plate of Leon Hasty? Potentially could be, I think it is, yeah, he's out of the top 10. So just thinking about how good he was doing, he is out of this race. He stopped and out of the car. Huge shame there for the O-plate of Leon Hasty right at the end of the race. Some really bad luck there for the Scottish driver again, just when you thought he was returning to form and fighting his way back forward. It's the case. Another car has stopped as well on the just on that run in towards the heavies breaking down on the circuit. So the very fast section there, you definitely need those double wave yellows. 20 seconds left on the clock. Kai Clark breaks the beam once again. He starts the penultimate lap of the race. Big shame there for Leon Hasty and for all the drivers at DNF, because there's a lot of hard work that's now been unravelled right at the death, but still some valuable experience, and especially for Leon Hasty as well, a driver of his calibre, adjusting to that new equipment on a day like today as well, where it's hot and not easy to drive. He's been, he's got a lot to be proud of. He made 18 places before he had some technical problems, so some really big positives to fall back on. Nonetheless, Rory Armstrong is on the rear end of the 95 of Charlie Wolford. This is the battle for 4th place as we almost tick our way onto the final lap then of the Junior Rotax Super Final. Kai Clark is gunning for that victory. at the final corner for the penultimate time for these drivers. Kai Clark 22nd in the championship, purely because, not because he's been slow all season, but because he's missed 3 rounds. The rounds that he has been here, he's taken victories, and he's on the final lap of this race. He just set a PB and a new fastest lap of the race that last time by as well. To outclass a driver as good as Jacob Ashcroft, a world champion and the comfortable championship leader, Kai Clark is a talent for sure. And whenever he's here at the UKC, he most definitely does deliver in terms of results. Here at Warden Law, of course, it's been a tough weekend to manage the heat, the tyre temperatures and all of the battling that's gone with it. Out of the final corner for the 67 of Kai Clark. He shines here at Warden Law. The checker flag waves and he sees it first. He takes victory for round number 5 of the Ultimate Karting Championship. Jacob Ashcroft, Matteo Palazzo, Charlie Wolfert and Rory Armstrong, who came very close to taking 4th place, unfortunately has to settle for 5th, but still a mighty effort there from Rory Armstrong, starting in P9, up 4 places from where he started this race. Incredible stuff as they peel their way into Parc Fermé. Very deserved win there for Kai Clark, and a big congratulations to him